Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host Nauman Rashid Khan on your own show, Voice on the Street, exclusively on Voice of UK TV, also known as Vouk TV. Today we are covering a very important topic, and I'm aware of it. It's the coronavirus. We're not going to go into the medical side of things or anything at all as to what the symptoms are and how you can deal with it and all that stuff. However, what I want to ask you yourselves or point out to yourselves is that in 2000 in the millennium, we were told the millennium bug was going to kill us all and destroy everything. In 2001, we were told the anthrax was going to kill us all. In 2002, the West Nile virus was told that we were going to be killed by it. In 2003, the SARS virus was going to kill us all. However, in 2005, we were told the bird flu was going to affect us all and in some way or another and kill us all. In 2006, we were told the E. coli virus was going to kill us. In 2008, the financial crisis was going to destroy, as we know, the community is a global community, and we were going to be affected by it. And in 2009, the swine flu was going to destroy and kill us all. In 2012, the Mayan calendar predicted that the world will come to an end. In 2013, North Korea apparently was going to kill us all. In 2014, the Ebola virus was going to affect us all and kill us. In 2015, ISIS was going to take over the world and kill us all. In 2016, the Zika virus was going to kill us, and now in 2020, we've been told it's the coronavirus. Is this just a panic creator, or is it a cover story for another thing, or is it smoke for something else that's happening behind the scenes? Well, we'll try to understand that very shortly on the streets of UK with yourselves answering these questions. Okay guys, now time of the show where we actually go out on the streets of UK and find out the answers to the questions in order to understand what we know about coronavirus. Cameraman, you ready? Mike? Producer? Director? We ready? Let's go. What do you know about coronavirus?
It's a horrible disease. It's bad. It's really, really bad. Sorry, I was going to say it comes from China. It's a pandemic. It's bad, isn't it?
So it's a pandemic virus that spreads through droplets. So it's pretty huge because it spreads really, really easily. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Oh, I know a lot of things, but I don't know how to explain because my English is not good. I only know that it's a virus that you can take it if you are with a lot of people around you that maybe they got the virus.
It's a virus just like any other flu virus.
Mm-hmm. Exactly what she said. It's a form of flu, but a virulent form, obviously.
It's a virus that's affecting all over the world. It's like the common cold, but slightly worse.
I just know that it was kind of a virus that was started in China, and as kind of the month of January progressed, it just really, really started going around the world. As to, kind of how it spread, I mean, travel for the most part. I mean, here in Manchester, there's loads of Chinese students as well. Not to say that they're the people responsible. For all we know, it was Italy. For all we know, it was France. Doesn't matter who. But there's a lot of UK's kind of a bit of a hub for the rest of Europe. So there's no shortage of people who could have potentially brought it here.
It's highly contagious. You're supposed to wash your hands as much as possible and avoid human interaction as much as possible so it wouldn't spread. I know that much.
ये जो कोरोना वायरस आया है तो मेरा तो यही कहना है कि ये सब के लिए इम्तिहान है और अल्लाह पाक इस बीमारी से बचाए सब मुसलमानों को भी और गैर मुस्लिम को भी और यूके में रहने वाले जितने भी हैं उनको भी और हमारे मादरी मिल्लत पाकिस्तान को भी.
No, it's a virus obviously spread by the government. It's a planned virus. That's my personal opinion.
I just think that I think viruses are like created. Yeah, I think it's been a creative thing as well. But then I think it's like spread through obviously through the air and everything. It's just spread through the air, innit? Through physical contact.
Okay. Well, obviously it's a world pandemic right now. Like, obviously, I think obviously the media's making like a bigger deal out of it than what it actually is. But obviously it's still a problem. Obviously we still gotta make sure we're being hygienic, make sure we're not, spreading it unnecessarily. But personally, I think that the media is overhyping it slightly.
Okay, do you think it's part of a conspiracy theory?
Oh, no, definitely no. It just happens, you know, sometimes. Like SARS back in 2000s. Yeah, something sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it's United States create this thing for um, uh, I don't know how to explain this. So, United States create this for because they don't like Chinese people. I mean, they want to be on top every time. So this is my yeah.
So what you're saying is it could be a conspiracy theory that they want to do an economy crash for China?
For China, because China is come on, China is in another level. So they only want that China go down.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Yeah, conspiracy theories, maybe.
I mean, do you know?
It came from China, didn't it?
It is.
Wet markets in China, so bats, pangolins, stuff like that. So I believe the illegal trade of pangolins might have had something to do with that.
I mean, there's conspiracy theories out there saying that the US or other nations are using this as a cover story for other stuff that's happening around the world.
It could be. But for what I've seen on the internet and heard in the news, I believe it's natural.
Absolutely not.
No. I mean, obviously, I'm just going to put you a couple of conspiracy theories out there at the moment. One is to destroy the economy of China. I know that's happening at the moment. Do you think that was part of it?
Absolutely not, no.
I mean, if you're going to entertain conspiracy theories, I don't know how far it's going to get us. I mean, the situation is what it is. And one theory I've heard is that obviously there's no protests going on in Hong Kong anymore, and that one of the reasons is that the spread of this disease. But I don't know whether I believe it or not.
The two biggest conspiracy theories I've heard is that it was engineered by China. What was it? There's a research facility not too far away from the food market where it was first kind of traced at. But I think just as well, the other conspiracy theory is that it was U.S. engineered and it was brought over to China. In my opinion, they're both conspiracy theories. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a virus, and I'm just a guy who's, trying my damnedest not to get it. Not particularly. I do think the Chinese and the U.S. are fairly reliant on each other. I'm a finance and economics student, so in terms of the debt that China's bought from the U.S. and vice versa, and in terms of the number of businesses that the U.S. has brought over to China just for manufacturing. The only benefit that I could see from it is something purely political and not really anything that yields something strictly economic.
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
Because you can think about, there's so many topics you can think of conspiracy theory. For example, there's Twin Towers in America. People think it's a conspiracy. There's Bermuda Triangle. People also think about conspiracy. There is no substantial evidence to back it up that it might be a conspiracy.
Yes, stock markets plummet and the 7% make money. That's my personal opinion.
Basically, we've got a certain amount of everything on this planet, and there's a bit too many humans on the planet, so I think it's a type of scheme to get the number more even in it, so we could deal with.
I say it's a trade war, and realistically, it's a trade war. Because obviously, China, you know about China and America happening, so this is probably payback. I don't know. It's probably going to it's brought the gold down, it's brought Bitcoin down, it's brought a lot of trading markets down. So realistically speaking, they've changed the plastic notes too, and you can transfer bacteria with plastic notes. So I just think it's planned, and they're going to release the cure, but expensive.
I mean, possibly, but obviously, if there's any conspiracy, we're not going to know about it. So, it's all good looking at different solutions. Nah, I don't think so, because I feel like if you go that way right now in this world, if you got the moment you step into that territory of trying to take over between two powerful nations, it's just going to end in the world ending, and no one really wants that. So, definitely, I feel like obviously it's a lot less cost effective to just put something like that in place, but I don't believe that's what they're doing. No.
Our government, are they doing exactly what they should be doing?
Yeah, I believe so. From what I've seen, Italy are going for this. Their plan is essentially locking everyone down, stopping the movement of the virus. The UK, however, is opting for a delay method, which at the moment means they fully accept people are going to get the virus. But what they are doing is trying to sort of mitigate the effect on the NHS. So people will get it, but they're just trying to delay that. So the stress on the NHS is limited, and essentially means they are not going to run at capacity or full capacity. It's hard to say, isn't it? We don't know what this virus is what the big effect it's going to have. So all we can do is go off the data and the information we have at the moment, make a good judgment on that.
Sort of. Every step counts, doesn't it? For every every point of fact that yesterday the cases weren't so high, today it's high. So I guess the UK government is really putting in effort.
No, because they take this like a joke. I don't see UK people worry about this. And in Spain, they close everything because it's a serious problem. But here, I don't see that people doing nothing. Everybody is chill, and we have in UK. There's a lot of cases that have coronavirus, but nobody do nothing. So I take my own. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, my personal opinion is that it's not as bad as everyone is making it out to be. I mean, if you think about it, 600,000 people die from the cold, a common cold and flu every single year. And if you go about those kind of statistics, this is nothing in comparison. So if we're going to be alarming about so many people around the world dying from a cold, then you could argue, why aren't we not taking more precautions when people just get ill? So the fact that we haven't got as many deaths, then I personally don't think that it's something that we should be worrying about, no.
Hell no. I think Boris Johnson's plan is a bit stupid, just simply because, I mean, I understand that herd immunity mentality, but the fact of the matter is people have recovered and they have reacquired it. So it's basically him almost kind of condemning everybody who's here to catch it again, and if they recover, catch it again.
I feel like they could have done a bit more. Like, South Korea is doing really well. They're being really efficient about this whole situation. I feel like the British government could incorporate some of the method that South Korean government is doing. Because right now it feels like no one is really taking it seriously, but you can feel the tension rising a little bit. Like, there's a lot less people in city center than it used to be. Some of the students don't go to university. For example, I didn't go to university on Monday. So I feel like it should be taken a bit more seriously than it actually is.
And you think that's partly the government to blame?
Well, yes and no, because the government can help people to prevent the spread, while the people themselves also need to do something about the virus. For example, not gather around and socialize.
Which government are you talking
UK.
about? UK, obviously we're lacking, but obviously I think it's going to help Brexit, realistically. Well, after the corona, obviously, a few deaths, this, that, whatnot, and then the pound's
I
gonna
think
go up.
now, obviously, guys are looking at places like China and Italy and comparing our situation to theirs. I mean, in England, it's not been like that bad. So obviously, they have stages to how they deal with it. And I just feel like they're on the stage they're meant to be right now. People need to go work, people need to go school to learn, people need to make their money, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like they're going at the right pace right now.
Don't do that bit with nothing. Don't do that bit with nothing, to keep it real. Like, they're all of a sudden, I mean, China built a hospital in like 8 days when as soon as they found out about this. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's not a crisis like that here, but if that happened, the UK would never do that. They'll never invest. In Italy, obviously, people, they know people can't go to work, so they're letting people just pay, they're closing off people's bills, so people are not paying mortgages or taxes right now in Italy because of what's going on. In the UK, would they do that? Highly doubt it.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think as a global community we can do to deal with the situation?
I think unity is important. We need to work together. Whatever borders, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone got a part to play. You know, we can take precautions ourselves, like what she said, and we can also be socially responsible. So if we are sick, we can avoid crowded places or just avoid going outside and contain ourselves at home.
Yeah, staying home and try to not go around in a size that there's a lot of people. if you are in home, you do more than.
Oh, of course we can. Of course we can.
You have to.
Yeah, we have to. And I also think that Europe suddenly become separate from UK overnight. That's incredible, isn't it? But, you know, I think we do have to work together. Of course we do. Of course we do.
Exactly the same, yeah.
But we should always be washing our hands. That's all I have to come out of it. And maybe it's a good thing that we're teaching people now to have better cleanliness, making awareness of that, you know. So.
I mean, it does come down to like everybody is personally responsible for their role in transmitting the virus. If someone decides to travel, that is their choice, but it's also their responsibility to make sure that they take whatever precautions may be necessary in order to prevent the spread, like washing your hands, trying to make sure that if you sneeze or cough, it doesn't go up into the air or around other people.
I don't think that's right, because to help prevent the spread of the disease, you need to also let other people to have hand sanitizers, so they would have something to disinfect their hands with, because if they're not going to have anything, they might also spread the virus by accident. So I don't think it's right to buy all kinds of stuff and just keep it for yourself.
Nations, obviously, the Asians and the Muslims, alhamdulillah, if you're following Allah, you're washing your hands. You don't need to wash your hands, like, obviously, every day, man. These guys, they're just washing their hands now, like, that's nothing new. Like, you should already be doing that. Because, come on, who likes the smell of piss or whatever after the hands and that?
I think people are taking a piss, honestly. Like, if we live our day-to-day lives like how we were doing before, everything would be fine. But people are hoarding on tissue, hoarding on food and everything, and it's making it difficult for those that are like in the struggle, in the lower bracket.
No, man. Leave that for the people that need it. Like, obviously, we're taking all of the stuff, yeah, and then people are like, go on.
It's alright.
And then people more in need of those things that we're taking from these shelves, yeah, gonna go there and not even be able to get it. So I think it needs to be limited. People need to start being smart and calm. And obviously the media overhyping it doesn't help either. So people are seeing all this stuff on the TV and they're just being like, I need to go do this and do this. But obviously keep prepared and stay, you know, aware of the situation, but don't take into account people.
And one last question is, do you think this coronavirus has taught us a lesson of some sort?
In some respects, yes. I mean, I can't quite. I don't know why, but yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Like, it's bound to be some things we've done in the past. We will look back in 2 years' time, 5 years, 10 years' time, and we will see our mistakes and we will learn from that and we will become a better society.
I don't know. I think they're learning as they go along, aren't they? I think we're now learning. We should be learning from them. I'm not sure that we are, but we should be learning from what they've done. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's taught us not to panic buy because there's nothing on the shelves at the moment. So that's a lesson I've learned. But
that's actually a really, really good question. I think if it showed us anything, I think it's definitely showed a lot of weaknesses in a lot of different healthcare systems. I was actually in Lisbon last weekend, and I was with a friend, and she was telling me that the health department in Lisbon on day one was saying we are adequately prepared for it. Don't worry about it. We are going to protect everybody. The next day they were saying their hospitals are over capacity and there's nothing else they can do. So, and that just goes to show that it's not necessarily something that's inherently wrong with, say, private healthcare where, there are a handful of people who can't afford it, but also there's issues with public healthcare and there's issues with capacity and expertise, and both sides have their own problems.
Yeah, you need to learn from obviously China. Obviously UK is lacking. We're not doing nothing about this. People are waiting until it spreads, innit? It's spreading in Oldham, obviously a new person got it, and obviously there's new cases coming up and people are just frightened, innit? Staying in their yards and that. But these man want to bring the online banking to life where everyone fears, and obviously Apple's closing jobs down, universities closing down, so it's actually getting serious now. And obviously in Dubai, universities closed down. Mecca itself, like, they close it for clean, like, come on, religions are stopping, people aren't going to church. So realistically speaking, like, wake up, man. You're coming to the end of time, man.
You know what it is? I feel like if you look at other nations, the situation is different to ours. Obviously, we have our own tactics. We could take a little bit from here and there, but we can't really look at China or Italy or other countries as a whole and try to adopt what they're doing, because we're not the same. We've not got the same climate. We've got to deal with it differently.
It's taught you that people are racist put that bleep thing there, but yeah, it's discrimination, man. America's trying to bring, like, obviously people like let the Chinese feel bullied and whatnot, but they don't, like. It's one of them. I just see what's going on, but hey, yo, be safe, man. Don't stay in your yards, man. Just come out, just live life, bismillah, and then wash your hands, man. Quick sanitize.
Obviously, it shows that people are affected by, before you say it, it feels like people are, obviously, anything the media portrays, it shows that people take that as first hand. Obviously, some people have done their extra research. That's where his points of view are coming through, because he's done his own research. So I feel like what people are doing, just going to the shops, buying whatever, it's showing that people are just sheepish, innit? And they're not working out what they need to do personally. You gotta see what's best for you, what's best for your people at the end of the day, instead of just, you know what I mean, just
and
doing
also the food's gonna run out, so you lot need to stock up like 2-3 weeks time, yeah, when everyone's out of jobs and like, everyone's fearing their life about this corona shit when it's actually spreading. The foods are gonna run out, the toilet papers are running out. I've seen people fighting over these toilet rolls and sanitizers and that. It's not really worth it, so go ahead, go do your thing. If you've got a family to take care of, make sure they're right, do your love messages, and yeah.
One last close question. Are you worried?
Not particularly. I mean, am I worried for myself? Not really. I mean, I'm young. I'm fairly hardy. It does take a lot for me to get sick. I definitely am worried for, the more senior citizens, like 50s, 60s, 70s, because those are the people who are dying in much higher rates than people who are, less than 40, less than 30. I mean, as far as being under 20, under 30 goes, the death rate's pretty close to 0%.
Hard no. No.
Not worried. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, guys.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Nauman Khan, and yes, we put the questions out there to you in order to get the answers and draw up some conclusions. However, we will not draw this conclusion in this video, and we'll leave you to do that at home or wherever you're watching this. Plus, also, we'll ask you to please ask the same questions to yourselves and see where you stand in this whole global picture and where you stand in your views in order to come to some sort of conclusion. One thing I will say is, please do not get so worried. There are many other flus out there, many other diseases and many other ways of people dying than the coronavirus itself at this moment in time, so please do not get worked up so much. Secondly, I would say is, take care of yourselves and take the precautions. Take care of the elderly who are most vulnerable from this, and take care of the kids. Although they may not suffer the same symptoms and the severity of the symptoms as the elderly and others, they do still suffer. In terms of elderly, please do go and ask them what they need. They may live across the road, they may live down the road, they may live across town. If you live in a very small hamlet or a village, please do go visit them, see what they need. They may not be able to get out of their house because of their symptoms or from what condition they're in. So please do approach them. However, do take precautions. Do wash your hands regularly. I'm not going to go into details as to what the other religions and scriptures have taught us to do in the past, but now is a time that we've learned that we need to be keeping ourselves clean. And yes, we've seen people have taken toilet rolls to an extent where they've actually emptied the shelves out in supermarkets. No, you don't need to go to that extent. We do not need to be emptying out the sanitizer or anything at all. Please do keep it to a point where you can keep yourselves clean for a certain amount of time. Third point, let's take the positive out of this. Positives are, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, is that people are spending more time together with each other. This is parents spending more time with their kids, kids spending more time with their siblings, and so forth and so forth. So this is a positive out of this. So please do, guys, if you're not already doing it, do this, and it will take us away from the technology and the world that we live in at the moment, where we're spending more time on tablets and mobiles and so forth, and we're not actually enjoying our surroundings. So please, that's one of the positives that we need to take out of this. The second positive we need to do is, I've seen and heard a lot of people rationing their food, and yes, it was done many years ago. From what we know as a nation, it was done at the point of World War II, and now people are doing the same thing again. Please, one thing I would ask you to do is, do not go to an extent of emptying the shelves out and not leaving the food for other people. Please do leave food for other people, leave other items and sanitary items for other people. We do not really need to be selfish. We've got enough food out there to have ourselves easily live the next few years, whatever, or months even rather. So please do ration your food quite sensibly, and people are already doing that, and that's a positive. Is be careful what you eat. From all this, from what the research has been showing us and what we've learned, is it's all started from a bat. So please, we need to be careful. Again, when I go into the scriptures as to what the beliefs of the people have in terms of what they teach them or not to eat or what to eat, but what we need to know is we need to be careful as to what we eat. So guys, those were the positives from this. Please do take them forward. Please do share this video. Please do subscribe to our channel. And until the next time, stay tuned.